Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the Beer Battered Sports podcast, the podcast created by sports fans for sports fans, because if we're being honest, we believe we're the most qualified to talk about our favorite teams. I'm your co host, Isaac,
And I'm Kylie.
And I'm 40.
and we have a very special guest today. As you may have noticed, there's four of us on the podcast. This is the PA announcer for the Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears, Chicago Fire, and the Illinois Fighting Illini, Mr. Tim Sinclair. Thank you for joining the show, Tim.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of fun stuff we're going to be talking about with Tim today, along with our regular show, too. As always, thank you to all of our sponsors. We wouldn't be able to have the show in the first place without you guys. And before we jump into today's episode, quick couple of promo codes for you guys to use. If you go on over to www.norsebeards.com, you can use promo code OCS at checkout for 25% off all of your Beardsman products. If you want a luxurious playoff beard like I've got going on right here, or get a head start on it, check it out. Beard oil, beard brush, works like a charm. Also, I know Kylie likes this one. If you head over to www.righteousfelon.com, you can use promo code OCSN at checkout for 15% off of your order of some of the most delicious jerky you can find on the East Coast. Kylie, what flavor you got today?
Turkey jerky.
Of course. How is it? Describe it. What are we dealing with?
It's kind of like a different texture, but it's actually really good. I've never had turkey jerky before. It was good.
All right. Remember, promo code OCSN for righteousfelon.com and OCS for norsebeards.com. And of course, thank you to all the other sponsors. Now, let's get down to business with the main focus of today's episode. We're talking with Tim Sinclair, again, the PA announcer for the Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears, Chicago Fire, and the Illinois Fighting Illini. Again, Tim, thank you for joining the show. So I want to start off by asking a big question here. Everyone says the Chicago Bears are going to be kind of meh this year. NFL ranked them dead last in their power rankings, which I honestly don't agree with. So I'm curious. Yeah, they were ranked 32nd.
Can I add to that? Can I add to that as well?
Yeah.
They're actually the only team that does not have a Super Bowl bet on them over $1,000.
So I'm curious, Tim, as the PA guy, what's your prediction for the Bears season? I just want to get that out of the way first.
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of talk about the Bears nationally, almost exclusively in bad terms or less than acceptable terms to Chicago sports fans. Since my paycheck has a bear in the corner or a C in the corner, I have to be somewhat careful about predictions and things like that for the NBA and the NFL. But I will say that I think there are going to be people who are surprised. But also, I think everybody's aware that, you know, when you have a changing of the guard, that tends to lead to a dip before you can start building back up. At least that's the hope. So I've got so many guys on the field Sunday that I'm excited to see. Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields and some of our brand new guys who are playing in the defensive secondary. So I'm excited for the season. I'm an eternal optimist anyway. My job's always great. It's even better when you win. But I'm really looking forward to the season, and I do think there are going to be a lot of people who are somewhat surprised given their predictions and then given how the season shakes out.
I agree with that.
32. I can't get over that. 32?
It's I don't know. Dan Hansis, whatever Dan Hansis at NFL.com thinks, apparently, but I don't see it, but we'll see.
No.
Well, the team is super young, incredibly young. Like more than half the team, I think, is first or second year. A lot of guys on one-year contracts. Not a whole lot of what you would consider star power in the NFL at the prime positions, except for maybe Justin Fields. So I think that leads itself to going well until we see if they're a team. If the sum is greater than the parts, then whatever, pick what you want, and we'll let the season shake it out. So that's why you play the games, and that's why the NFL is so exciting, because there are only 17 to determine the whole thing. Right. So we get started as a Bears organization, started on Sunday.
All right.
You mentioned Darnell Mooney. I actually love that guy too. He's came out of Tulane, 5th round guy, and not only that, he's electrifying, and he can change the game in a heartbeat. I hope none of my guys that are in my fantasy league are watching right now, because he's one of the guys that I'm going to. So
don't spoil that.
Right.
So you were you did the Pacers before you did the Bulls, but you were also doing the Chicago Fire while you were with. How does that?
Yeah, I understand the confusion. My calendar and my car both got a workout.
Yeah,
So
Right.
for years, Champaign, Illinois is my home. And for those who don't know where that is, it's where the University of Illinois is located. It's about 2 hours south of Chicago and about 2 hours west of Indianapolis. So I was doing Illinois sporting events almost exclusively before I got the job with the Fire in 2014. So that was, 18 times a year, you'd make the 2+ hour drive to Chicago and back, for just sort of a day trip to go work a match. And then I started doing some other events in Chicago, primarily soccer related. So when the Pacers job opened up and I thought, basketball has always been my favorite sport. It was a dream to work one NBA game, much less all of them. And I thought, well, it's the same distance. It's just a different direction. I could do that. It's a lot. My parents and sister and her family all live in Indianapolis, so it seemed like if I needed to stay, I could. And long story short, I ended up eventually getting that job and never thought I was going to leave. So I had one team in Chicago, one team in Indianapolis, and one team in Champaign.
that's
And
crazy.
then 2020 started to unravel. Not really. It was late 2019 when all the pieces started to fall into place with the Bears and the Bulls. And again, I never planned to leave the Pacers, but there was probably one and only one situation on earth that would have made that happen. And it happened, getting the Bears job and then being offered the Bulls job. And to have 3 pro teams in the same city, in my state, there's no way I could turn that down.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You took over for an absolute legend for the Bulls. And I mean, I've been following you for a while, and I've listened to how you intro the Bulls, and because everybody obviously on TikTok has asked you to do that. And you've done such a great job taking over for him. Like, how did it feel like taking over?
Yeah, there's fear and trembling in that because of the history, not only of the guys who did it, but of what they made it become. I mean,
Yeah,
you could almost go anywhere in the world and play that song or do those first couple of words, and everybody instantly knows what it's from. And Tommy Edwards created it back when Jordan was a rookie. And then as the Bulls started winning championships, Ray Clay made it famous. And then Tommy Edwards ended up coming back for the last 8 to 10 years. And so for 40 years, those two guys had done that introduction. And obviously, I wanted the job. I grew up with that introduction. It still to this day gives me goosebumps. But you know that as soon as you open your mouth to try to recreate that intro, that you are setting yourself up for a whole lot of criticism and a whole lot of people to be very unhappy. I thankfully, at least publicly, have gotten almost exclusively good feedback, and I will take that all day long because the chances were very high that, and there's still people who don't like it, and they think Tommy's was better or Ray's was better, and those guys are legends, and I'm not going to argue that ever, but I am going to do what they hired me to do, and that was be myself, and yet also try to pay homage to what has been created over the last 30 or 40 years. So it's a fine line to walk, but every day I'm trying to get better at it, and so far so good, I think, in the grand scheme of things.
I just want to point out before we continue that I already liked Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project before I found out that it was used for the Bulls intros. So just want to.
Most people have never heard the song other than apart from the Bulls intro. So you're kind of on the opposite end of that spectrum.
I pushes up my nerd glasses.
Yeah, no,
actually, I heard the song.
Good stuff.
How did it all start? How did Tim Sinclair get to where he is today? If there's a kid watching right now that wants to be the next Tim Sinclair one day, how does he get there?
I was just about to ask that.
That's a great question, 40. And my path has been weird, very unconventional. I thought I was going to be an architect. I went to architecture school at the University of Illinois, and a couple of semesters in, I needed a part-time job, and I knew somebody who worked in radio, and I said, "Hey, do you need help?" And he said, "Do you want to be on the air?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And I did, and I loved it. I was terrible, but I loved it. And that is really what started me down the communications path. Never in a million years did I expect then, or even 5 years ago, that I'd be doing what I am today. But I can see every step along the way has helped prepare me to do this. When you work in radio, typically, unless you're at a news station where you're just reading copy, you've got to be able to work off the cuff, and you've got to be able to adapt to things as they happen. And that's extremely important, especially in basketball and football when you're doing public address. It also, of course, develops your voice, etc. But I was over 30 years old when I did my first public address event ever. It was at Illinois for a baseball game. And again, just thought I'd be doing it as a hobby. And slowly but surely you get asked to do one more thing, and then one more thing. And then someone says, "Ooh, you did a great job there. Can you come help us with this?" And pretty soon you find yourself doing public address almost as much as you are doing radio.
Right.
And eventually you got to go, is there a chance that I can turn this into something more than just a fun hobby? And there are not many people who do, just because the jobs, there aren't that many of them. There are 120 in pro sports in North America, and I have 3 of them. So there are just not many of those jobs out there, and it's hard to do, but I've been incredibly fortunate, and don't take that for granted.
Lovely.
So I have a question. So I've been working as doing play-by-play at local community college, and the local PA guy there told me the first day on the job, he's like, first thing you want to do, get the names right, figure out pronunciations. I'm curious, have you ever had a case of a player where you've taken a look at their name and been like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a big issue with this name when I have to do the name, say it over the loudspeaker"?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Once you get to the professional level, thankfully, most of them. And even if they have difficult names, you've heard it a bunch, like, Giannis Antetokounmpo. All of a sudden, you learn to say it. But in college, a lot of times it's a team you've never played before. You'll never, play again. And they just roll through, and you go, wow, that is a lot of syllables and consonants all back together. So the hardest I think I've ever had actually played for the Illinois women's basketball team. She was Greek. A lot of Greek names are very, very difficult. Her first name was Nancy, so that was easy. I think it might have been Anastasia, but she went by Nancy. But her last name was hyphenated, and it was Panayotopoulos and Dritsopoulou.
Gesundheit.
Yeah. And all of it didn't fit on the jersey. They only used the first half of the hyphenation because Panayotopoulos almost did a complete circle on the back. So that's probably the most difficult, but the more you say them and the less you actually read them. If you have to go letter by letter and try to sound it out every time, you're screwed. If you can write it out phonetically, if you can say it a few times so that without looking at it, you just know how it sounds, that's generally the way to go.
I'm just thinking, that just reminded me of Halapulavati Vaitai.
I remember that name, but I haven't had to say it.
We had the first game of the season I had for men's soccer earlier last week. The opponent had like 2 or 3 guys from Brazil who their last names had 3 parts. So I went up to the coach. I was like, "All right, be honest. Are they starting?" He's like, "Oh no, they're not playing tonight." I was like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." So I get it.
Sometimes
it is.
So you were also able to do the bubble and the wubble, which is what they call the women's bubble. How was that? Like the whole experience with that?
Those were experiences that I hope we don't have to do again for a number of reasons. One, obviously, that means COVID would be back or something like it. And it's a long time away from home, But on the flip side of the coin, like an experience I'm so glad I had. The NBA bubble was like NBA summer camp. I kind of called it. Everybody was in this small area. They had their dorms, so to speak, and sort of a place where everybody would go to eat the meal times, and you could fish and bike and swim and hike and all that kind of stuff. And then occasionally you would get on buses for field trips. Now, all of ours were to NBA games to go work them. But it very much had that feel. You'd be walking around, the resort where we were staying, and you'd be walking next to LeBron James, or literally anybody. And it was very weird at first. It got more and more normal the longer you were there. But still, thinking back on it, it was just craziness that we were all sort of tucked into this, couple of resorts at Disney. The officials, the players, staff. I think the officials and players kind of enjoyed it, quite frankly, because they're traveling all the time. So, and dealing with, players are dealing with paparazzi and all that kind of stuff. So they just got to kind of kick back and enjoy the resort, albeit away from their families, but they're kind of used to that a lot of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was craziness thinking back on it, but it was a lot of fun, a lot of work. Worked a couple of games a day, pretty much every day for a long stretch of time, but it was great.
How was the trash talking?
Oh.
A lot of those guys are friends. So off the court, there wasn't much of that. You see a lot of guys from different teams hanging out, and they get to do that, and they wouldn't normally, certainly not during the season. On the court, you hear plenty of trash talking, but at the bubble, we were behind plexiglass they'd set up these big, it was kind of like hockey almost, that we were behind on, and then we had speakers on our side because the plexiglass was so thick you couldn't really hear them, even though there was nobody in the arenas. So it was a little harder to hear some of it during the bubble, but obviously there's always some.
I kind of want to pull an experiment now if we had the bubble in the 80s, because Larry Bird in the bubble would be the one guy who didn't care if they were playing or not. He would just be trash talking nonstop.
I traveled with Larry to India when the Pacers went to India to play the Kings for a couple of games back in 2019, and he was on the team playing with us. And I'll just say you're right.
I see so many stories of guys who played in the 80s and 90s who are just like, the trash talk was good, but then Larry Bird actually would say something that you would turn around for a second take, like, what did he really say that?
Everything's a competition. Everything is a slight. Everything is, but Jordan had a little of that. He was more personable than Larry. But those guys who are great find ways to motivate themselves. And, that's kind of how Larry did it.
So I'm curious, you do the PA for the Bulls, Bears, Fire, and the Illini. I don't know exactly how many sports in the Illini, but I'm going to guess it's a lot. How do you manage all of that while doing other voice work, like recently doing the voice for for NBA 2K?
Yeah, Illinois, I've trimmed down considerably. I have done every sport there over the years, but now I'm just doing Illinois basketball, and then filling in if they need me for special events or to host things, or occasionally a football game. But it would get to be a lot. My contracts basically kind of line out when I can do what and with whom or who. So the Bears are first. There's so few games that they've got to be number one on the list. So if there's a conflict, the Bears win. The good news is, because the Bears and the Fire play on the same field, there's never a conflict with those two teams. And usually the Bears are at noon, and the Bulls on a Sunday would only have a 7:00 game. So there have been times every year, and there will be again this year, where I have a doubleheader. I do a Bears game at noon, and then I'll drive across the city and do a Bulls game at 7, which kind of fun to do those back to back. But there are games that I have to miss. The Illinois basketball schedule for the Big Ten comes out this week, and so once I layer that on the existing Bulls calendar, there will be some overlaps, and I will have to, I tell my bosses there with Illinois, and then they have a couple of backups they can choose from as needed.
That's awesome. I really want to go to a Bulls game.
I do too, kind
I
of.
haven't been to the. I mean, I've always loved the Bulls because of Jordan and then Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose, and I mean they've had and now Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. I have loved so many players on the Bulls, and don't know why I haven't gone up there to watch a game.
Yeah, you absolutely should. It's the biggest arena in the NBA. It's loud. Bulls fans obviously are passionate. I mean, all fans are, but I think there's a little extra in Chicago, and the entertainment teams, even during the timeouts and halftime are incredible. So yeah, if you can get up to a game, definitely do it.
It's so funny we're talking to you about Chicago because I just started watching the series Chicago Fire, and I get it. I get why Chicago sports fans are so passionate. Like every so often in the show they sneak in like we're gonna miss the game, or the Bears are on. Someone turned the Bears on. And it's like, oh, we got to go fight a fire. The Bears are on. I get it. I get why Chicago fans are so passionate.
I love it.
It's a great sports town.
With that being said, though, I have to ask now: what is the most electrifying game you've been a part of?
Ooh.
Man, that's a good question. I would say, and this goes right up there with I've tried to rank my top moments, and it's hard. But in 2016, there was something called Copa America, that the big soccer tournament that was actually held in North America. It was the first time, I think, ever, or certainly in a very long time, that it was in North America. But they played a number of games at Soldier Field, and I got to work those. One of them was Argentina, which is where Messi plays. And he had been hurt, and so we had 60,000 people in that stadium ready to see him, but he didn't start. And so everybody was like, man, we just paid all this money and spent all this time and fought traffic and parking to not see Messi play. And in like the 60th minute, he checks into the game. And so the introduction of him in that moment, getting to say, entering the match for Argentina, and everybody could see him, walk into the side to the fourth official, the place went bonkers. And then between the 60th minute and the 90th minute, he scored 3 goals. Jesus. And it was incredible. And the match didn't mean a whole lot other than it was part of this competition that obviously Argentina wanted to win. But the electricity in that building to see arguably the greatest soccer player in the world, and then have him sort of come in dramatic fashion and play so well, that was probably the most electric actual, game moment. The most electric moment, period, was probably introducing Michael Jordan at the All-Star game.
I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah, that wasn't a game moment. It wasn't because of competition, but in terms of buzz in a building and an explosion of crowd noise, that's got to be up there too.
I mean, nobody expected him to be there because wasn't he at the NASCAR thing that day?
Was this year's All-Star game?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was in Florida.
Yes, he was. Yes,
yep.
I was racking my brain trying to think, like, where was he? Was he there? He was. So, yes.
So we knew internally. I had heard he was going to be there, but then I had also heard that, well, depending on Daytona and how things were going, he might be showing up late, because basically he was hopping on a private jet after the race, flying to Cleveland, and was hopefully going to be there by halftime. When they, for those who don't know, introduced the 75 greatest players of all time in this huge ceremony, which was just incredible. And I got to narrate it, which was just bonkers. But nobody knew for sure. And so about 20 minutes before we got to halftime, I heard in my headphones that he had made it. So we knew he was going to be there. But I don't think most of the crowd knew. And I don't think most of the players even knew. And so when we actually got to do it, I held myself together for 74 and a half names. Like, I got through everybody, and you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Shaq, and even mentioned Kobe, and like there was just some really hard ones too. And I did fine until a 6-time NBA champion, and then he shows up on the screen, and even in Cleveland, where he was hated, the place went crazy. And so, you could hear me, and certainly on television you could hear me. I'm not sure how well in the stadium you could, but I was a little less than polished for the rest of that read. It wasn't bad, but it was just the emotion of it all at the same time. Definitely got to me.
Did you grow up a Bulls fan?
Yes and no. I was in Detroit until 6th grade, and we moved to Illinois in 1989. And if you go back and do the math, 89 and 90 were the 2 years that the Pistons had beaten the Bulls, and then won the NBA title. And then the very next year, the Bulls beat the Pistons and moved it. So I moved at the perfect time for Fairweather fans, right? Like my team was great, and then all of a sudden, the new state where I had moved, their team was great, and it was Michael Jordan. So since then, I've been a huge Bulls fan and follow them. And it looks like I'm just a Fairweather fan. It was somewhat geographical as well.
Hey, he's a Yankees fan and a Bucks fan, so believe me.
You understand
all
fans,
through
right?
all through natural causes. The only Fairweather fan teams I'm a fan of are the local Maryland teams, and that's just because, got to support them.
We've all got
I
our
get
reasons.
it.
It's all right.
Yeah, I get it.
No shame.
No shame at all.
I just find it ironic, so it's just funny to bring that up. That's so doing 2K. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, honestly, the experience of recording it to me beats hearing it in the game. Like I like it. I'm not a 2K player. My boys are. I've got a 15 and a 13-year-old. They love 2K. They play all the time. The game comes out Friday, so they're looking forward to their free copy because Dad's in the game. At which point I always say to them, to you, it's always free. I don't have to pay for it. But the experience, and I've been now 2 years in a row, I was in 22 and now 23. It's repetitive. It's a lot of long days, but it was fascinating to see how it all went together. They have a proprietary system of how these things are recorded so that they can mix and match and put things together. But, the first year you have to get every potential jersey number, every potential score, every potential everything recorded so that at the end of the first quarter, when you hear the PA guy saying, after the first quarter, the Chicago Bulls 19, Cleveland Cavaliers 17. You have to go through and do Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers, Chicago Bulls, Indiana Pacers, Chicago Bulls, and then you have to do 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, all the way to 150. And then you have to do it backwards so that the first score, as if the home team is losing, you do 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, because they need each of those things so that they can grab whatever they want to put it together based on what's happening in the gameplay. So the first year was a lot of the nitty gritty of those types of things. Heights, for example, when you're doing starting lineups, we had to do a 5-foot guard at 5'1", at 5 feet 1, at 5 feet 2, 5'2", a 5'2" guard. You have like all this because they need all of that.
That is crazy.
That's insane.
Give me a quick estimate. How long did this take?
The first one I was out there a full week, but we only worked about 3 to 4 hours a day, just because your voice won't hold up for 8 hours of that. It's just impossible. Right. This last time was a little less because some of those basics were already done. Mm-hmm. So I think I did 3 or 4 days of recording the second time. But you have all the new players, you have new draft picks, you have, they've added some legends to the game. They have their new My Player names. So all those things have to go in. And when you're doing names, I'll use Zach LaVine as an example. If Zach LaVine's at the line shooting free throws, you have to do Zach LaVine. But if he's for the visitor, which he can be because any player can be on any team, it's Zach LaVine. But if he's in the starting lineup, it's Zach LaVine. You know, if he hits a three, it's different. So you've got to do every player in the NBA's name, plus all the draft picks, plus all the legends, plus all the my players, like 6 or 7 different ways, so that depending on what they've done, whether it's a dunk or a layup for the home team or the away team, they know which one to choose so that the inflection's right and the energy's right. And so that part was fascinating. That may have been way farther down that track than you wanted me to go, but it was great, but it was a lot.
That's
You
a
know,
lot of
Wow.
combinations.
That's
I've always wanted to know how they did that. Ever since I played Madden back when I was in middle school, I was thinking like, you know what? How do they get all the announcer stuff in there?
Well,
That's
and the play-by-play
crazy.
guys, that stuff's even harder, man. Like
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I know my stuff was a lot. I can't even imagine what they've got to go through because there are so many different moves that can happen and things that can happen in the game beyond just the score. And
Right.
yeah, it's really incredible how they do it.
It's just like, so with 2K, they have a whole bunch of preset nicknames. You had to do that too, I assume.
Yep, all of them.
Wow.
That's wild.
And there's a lot of nicknames.
And there's more. They've tried to get for 2K23. They're trying to, with a lot of common first names and last names. We did each of them individually. It wasn't just Zach LaVine. We would do Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. So you could actually make it DeMar LaVine. So you could create a character named DeMar LaVine, or whatever, any combination you want. And so if your name is, well, Matt Thomas is an NBA player, so that'd be a bad example. Jack Daniels, you would have a Jack to choose from and a Daniels to choose from, and could put those together and actually have your name be in the game as if we recorded it that way. So they've tried to think of everything, and it's growing year after year, but they're doing a good job with it.
Kylie, I will bet you $50 right now that a player named DeMar LaVine shows up in the NBA in the next 20 years. Right now, I will put $50 on it.
I'm going to make a my player with that name now.
There you go.
I have one question, Tim. All right. Do you ever use the announcer voice to mess with people? I'm just curious because I think I saw an interview once where some late night host asked Joe Buck about this. It's like, do you ever use the announcer voice to like mess with people? I'm curious. Do you?
I am not a typically draw attention to myself guy.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, it has crossed my mind to just like in a hallway where I'm leaving the stadium with everyone else and they've just heard me inside the stadium saying whatever, to just sort of be walking out of the United Center behind some people doing, thank you for attending the United Center tonight. We hope you have a great, and see if they even notice, or if it's just in one ear out the other because that's what they've been hearing all game. I really haven't, just because I never want someone to think that I think so highly of myself that they would find me being annoying cool.
Gotcha.
So there may come a time that it would make sense, or if like a little kid is like, "Hey, can you do the voice?" I absolutely, I'll do that.
Gotcha.
But typically, I don't try to mess with people, and that's the main reason, I guess.
Fair enough.
How do you keep your voice other than like not doing, doing 2K intros for 8 hours in a whole day? How do you keep your voice like in check?
The voice is a muscle, and so the more you use it, the stronger it gets, typically. Now, muscles generally don't get like a cold, like your voice can get. You can get a cold, and all of a sudden you sound weird. Typically, I have something carbonated. Typically, it's Diet Dr. Pepper or something like that, and then some water. And between those two things, generally, if I get anything that if I need it to be soothed, generally water does it, or you get dried out, water does it. Occasionally, a hot drink. I generally don't like hot drinks, just taste wise.
Yeah,
but if you have a cold and you need to try to clear out that way, some tea with honey or whatever. But generally, I don't do a whole lot. I don't do vocal exercises. I just talk a lot, which is a blessing and a curse, but it does typically keep your voice pretty strong. And if there is something that goes wrong, it does allow you to push through that perhaps a little bit better than if you hadn't been working it out so much. So that's kind of the method I employ, at least for now.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
So one final question. For people like Isaac who would love to have your type of job, what advice would you give them?
There are a few things I typically say to this. Ability, availability, and humility are the three things that I say. And this is for any job, quite honestly. You need to be good at what you do, which means you need to practice a lot, work every opportunity you get, hone your craft, listen to others. But that's only part of it. Like, just being good, specifically in this industry, is not enough, because there are a lot of people who are good and there are very few jobs. If you think of the number of people who've been head coach of the Chicago Bulls or point guard of the Chicago Bulls, there are way more of those than there are people who've been public address announcer of the Chicago Bulls. It's just a rare thing. So in addition to that, you've got to be available. And that means when someone calls you to work, whatever it is, especially early in your career, go do it. It does take sacrifice. It does mean giving up fun or money or time with friends and family sometimes. But if this is what you want, if this is where your priority system is, then make yourself available, because in this business, when people need someone, they really need someone. And if they call you and you can't once or twice, they don't have time to keep trying, barking up that tree. The third part of that would be humility. And, there are a lot of prima donnas in this industry, and probably in all of them, but specifically when it comes to a performance kind of art, if you are not easy to work with, you're probably not going to be worked with very, very often. And so that means doing your job well and being there and being kind, but also, like, I've helped set up chairs, I've helped write scripts, I've held mic cables for people, I've tested that. Like, if I'm there and just sitting around, why not be helpful? I mean, it doesn't cost me anything, and it gains me a whole lot in the eyes of the people who employ me. And it's just the right thing to do. So those three things are really, really big. And then I guess the final thing is, be yourself, but don't make the show about you. Like, I want to be authentically me, but I never want people to be distracted from the game or the entertainment as a whole because I've decided I'm funny or I'm talented or I'm the star. I'm not, and never will be, nor should I be. So that's sometimes a tough balance for people. I've heard a lot of people who've crossed that line, and maybe I have a time or two as well, but I really try not to. And I think those few things will at least point you in the right direction.
I'm taking those words to heart, man. I'm taking them to heart.
There you go, Isaac.
Yeah.
Man, thank you so much for coming on. It has been
Yes.
a pleasure. It's been a ton of fun. Love to have you on again sometime. Get in contact with you. Thank you so much.
You know how to get a hold of me, and I'd be happy to hop on again sometime if it works out. And I appreciate you guys. You're doing a great job and a good thing, and I'm honored that you asked me.
Yeah. Tim, just let us know, where can the people find you on social media if they want to give you a follow?
Tim, the letter J, Sinclair, Sinclair. That's Twitter, that's TikTok, that's Instagram, Snapchat. My website is timjsinclair.com. So any of those things, you can find my email address there too if you have questions or whatever. Cameo, same deal. So all that stuff, Tim, the letter J, Sinclair.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and go Bulls.
You got it. Go Bulls. Thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Tim.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
All right. That was
Okay.
awesome. That was
I am
awesome.
freezing, but I didn't want to leave. I'll be right back. I got to get a hoodie.
All right. All right. Once again, shout out to Tim Sinclair for jumping on board. So while Kylie gets her hoodie, Calvin, let's start off the rest of today's show. A little baseball. How are the Mets doing right now?
It's not looking too good, man.
Yeah. I see Mets collapse was at the top of our notes.
Wait,
Has it
wait,
finally
wait,
happened?
wait. Hold on. Let me check the
Okay.
score right now. Let me see what's going on.
Okay.
5-0 Mets.
5-0. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's
no,
good.
no. To speak on it though, yesterday we lose 8-2. The day before that we got postponed, but then the night before that we lose to the Nationals 7-1. The night before that we lose to the Nationals again 7-1.
It's not looking good.
Friday night I think we had off. No. We beat the Nationals Friday night 7-3. But yeah, so we lose 2 straight to the Nationals and then 1 to the Pirates last night, and it just looks absolutely terrible because it's like these are bottom tier teams in the league, and we're out here losing to bottom tier teams 7-1 and 8-2, and it just doesn't make any sense. But like I said, we're up 5-0 right now, so hopefully,
Oh my God, what inning?
We are in bottom of the 4th.
Holy shit.
Quick before we continue on talking about baseball, quick chat. We got a couple comments we got during the Sinclair interview. First up, Old City Sports Network. Fal Capone rocks. That would be one of the jerkies. I can't speak because I haven't tried it yet, but Kylie, have you tried Fal Capone?
Eating it right now. That's a turkey jerky.
Nice. Also, Fallout Girl gives us a couple 100s. Thank you, Fallout Girl. He's a friend of mine. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
So yeah, Kylie, we were just talking about the inevitable collapse for the Mets. Is it happening?
No, but before you go on with
Mets
that,
gonna Met.
I need to ask you, are the Yankees winning today?
Yes.
You talked a lot of shit before we went on the air, bro.
I know. I'm rethinking that because the shit I was shit talking aggressively.
You have Domingo German on the mound for the first game.
Ooh.
And then you have
Spicy
Cole on the mound tonight against Joe Ryan.
You know what? It's okay. We have personally owned the Minnesota Twins since 2002. Our record against the Twins since like 2002 has been over 100 something to 39.
All right.
We are fine. We are fine.
I like those odds. But yeah, you can go ahead about the Mets, Kylie. I know you have a whole bunch to say.
Mets are tied with the Braves now for the division lead.
Yeah, we're about to be up one.
That'll be interesting.
So yeah, they're about to be up one. But I actually tweeted out like the first thing I thought of this morning, because I always tweet my thoughts, which is not always a good idea, especially when I've been drinking.
It's
Ohio
not a good
State.
idea, isn't it? It's not a good idea.
Dude, Ohio State almost embarrassed me, bro, when I was at that game. But I did tweet out that I actually hope the Mets win it over the Braves.
I'm praying.
You have no idea how much I'm praying. Well, I don't want to face the Mets because they have owned our ass the past season. Completely owned us. So avoiding them is ideal, but just the Braves fans on Twitter, they are insane, bro. Like, at least I've had good experience tweeting with some Mets fans. We even have a Twitter community where Mets and Phillies fans talk crap to each other, and it's actually pretty funny. Like, Mets fans are Braves fans are a whole different breed.
So here's the thing with that. We can pull away. So we have the Pirates tonight again. Then we go into a series with the Marlins. Then we go into a series with the Cubs. Then we go back into another series with the Pirates. Then we have the Brewers, which could be a little tough, but
please win.
And then we go into a series with the Athletics, and then the Marlins again. And then to end it in October, it's for the division. We have 2 against the Braves, 3 against the Nationals.
Ooh, I like that.
We faced the Astros for our last series.
Jesus,
I don't know who we faced. Guys. I think we faced the Rangers.
Well, hopefully this next week where we face the Nationals and we face the the Marlins this week. So hopefully that helps out with that, and hopefully you guys do your freaking jobs and beat the Brewers.
Definitely. Hopefully. Yeah, Isaac, you're right. You guys go two with the Orioles to start off October, and then you have 4 straight against the Rangers.
I knew it. All right. Well, I'll see you guys in October then.
You cocky mother.
Hey. The Yankees kind of got their shit back together for a little bit, okay?
They did.
Give me
They
a
did.
break.
Well,
Just a
look,
bit.
you guys do have the Rays next, which you guys, I don't know why, but you guys struggle against the Rays for some reason.
Oh, they're only 4.5 games behind us in the division lead. I'm getting nervous.
And then you have the Red Sox for 2 games.
Oh, I'm not nervous anymore.
Then you have the Brewers, Pirates, and then you have the Red Sox again. Then you have the Blue Jays, and then you have that Then you go into October with the Orioles.
Don't worry, Kylie. We will take care of the Brewers. I promise. Speaking of the Brewers, holy
Oh,
crap!
yes.
Did you see what Christian Yelich hit at Coors Field?
Bro,
499 feet.
that's the longest since 2019
That's incredible.
in
Ridiculous.
MLB.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Some other news around the league in Major League Baseball right now. Minor leaguers might unionize. Hang on. Let me do this in my newscast voice.
Go ahead,
Yes.
pull it, Tim Sinclair. Go ahead, do it.
Tonight's main story. Minor leaguers might unionize. More at 8. I'm still
There you
working
go.
on it. I'm still working on it.
I love it.
No, but I've always been one to, especially lately with having interacted with people, in the league and that truly, actually do play it and everything. I've grown a deeper appreciation for the players, and have really defended players a lot. So, especially with this, when you are a very big entertainment industry, because sports is entertainment at the end of the day. So when you are a $1 billion entertainment industry, I don't understand why you wouldn't pay the people that are under you like this. Because if you don't take care of your minor leaguers, how do you expect them to develop into who you drafted them to be?
Right.
Not everybody is going to be Babe Ruth or Shohei Ohtani or Max Scherzer or Hank Aaron or Jacket. No, they're not always going to be that good. But if you don't take care of them, how do you expect them to really develop at all, let alone into a star?
Yep.
Exactly.
Because if you're not funding their food is very important to people's health. So if you're not funding their food, if you're not helping fund their place to live, if the facility, the stadium isn't up to par, you can't expect them to do anything. If you look, even the Athletics, their cup holders have cobwebs in them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Did you guys see that? They have cobwebs in the cup holders. So
that was crazy.
Like, how do you expect to have a successful franchise if you're doing stuff like that? You can't. So taking care of minor leaguers is a very important step to having a successful franchise. And I don't understand how people don't see that. It really blows my mind.
No, I get you.
What's this about Rizzo heading to the IL though?
He's got headaches or something. I don't know. He's been having a rough summer. He's actually been he's been doing really good, but recently he's been rough. It's been rough, so hopefully that helps. There's a lot of Yankees that are on the IL right now. Stanton just got off of it, thank God. So we're hanging in there. We're not, the downward spiral isn't as bad as it was, but it's been a rough second half of the year for the Yankees. So.
Yeah, it was very Mets-like of the Yankees in the second half. And that's not even me talking shit. Like the Mets have collapsed in years past.
I know.
But this year, I'm not counting them out because we saw what happened in the beginning of the season and they just went on a tear. So I'm not going to count them out until the very last second because, and this is coming from somebody that is a diehard Phillies fan. I mean,
I like us to finish strong. I like us to finish strong.
I think you guys will, honestly.
Probably. Yeah. You better. I have you guys against the Yankees in the World Series. Better.
But more injury stuff. Wander Franco and Tyler Glasnow are going to begin their rehab stint today. So
Okay.
Yeah, I the fact that that they've been injured and the Rays still won the series against us, just next. Next. Let's move on to blowouts. Here's your blowout update for the week. Phillies have murdered the Diamondbacks 18-2. Speaking of the Phillies, they got their asses kicked by the Giants all series, and it says here we are to only mention it and move on for fear of possibly being ejected from the podcast. Gotcha. White Sox routed the Twins 13-0. Reds beat the Rockies 10-0. This next one isn't a blowout, but it is pretty interesting. We had the benches clear in the O's and J's game yesterday. Kylie, you're going to the game tonight, right?
I'm going to the game tonight. I'm sitting 3 rows behind home plate.
Awesome.
I love that for you.
Ooh, I like that.
So I'm hoping to see some benches cleared because I have not seen that at all in baseball.
Let me tell you something. The Orioles Blue Jays doubleheader on Labor Day was electric. I have never seen Orioles fans pack that stadium like they have this season.
My uncle was there.
The Orioles, man, they could do it. It doesn't help that they got swept
yeah.
by the Blue Jays, but they could do it.
Yeah. My uncle was there. He's a huge Blue Jays fan. I don't know why. He texted me this morning at 10 o'clock. He was like, if they lose tonight, I blame you, but I hope you see a brawl. So I'm going with an Orioles fan. My uncle's a Jays fan. It's going to be an interesting experience. So looking forward to that. We've got a pretty tight race for some playoff push, and so we're just going to do the wild card standings because hold on, where is it? I had it.
Once she gives us these wild card standings and leaders here, you should let us know how we're doing in our predictions, Isaac.
Yeah. We'll do a prediction. Only you guys though. We're not going to worry about.
Yeah, because Kylie is the kind of person who thinks the Astros don't even make the playoffs.
Shut up. That was just because I don't like the Astros.
Speaking of predictions, for everyone tuning in, don't worry. We will have NFL Week 1 predictions coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, we got you.
Because the first game of the season is tomorrow. we probably should lock them in.
Yeah. The first 3 American League wildcard spots are taken up by the Rays, the Mariners, and the Blue Jays. Tampa Bay and Seattle are a game and a half up, and Toronto is sitting pretty right at the last spot. But the Orioles are 3.5 games behind. So this series is very crucial to the Orioles' playoff hopes because not only is it the same division, but they are right on top of each other for that last spot. So that's definitely something to watch out for. And because the Mets are going to Met for a second, we have a 4 spot for the National League wild card. We have the Mets and the Braves. They are 10.5 games up. We have the Phillies and the Padres sitting pretty. And then the Brewers are 3 games out looking in. So, again, very, very close.
Ooh, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite baseball seasons to watch. It's going to go down to the wire.
Absolutely. It's going to be crazy, and I'm looking forward to that. And we have some more stat leaders. So for batting average, you still have Goldie at 329. Not much has changed there. Freddie Freeman is right behind him at 323. For home runs, it's, of course, none other than Judge himself with 54. and Kyle Schwarber is a very close 36. You're welcome, Isaac. He's going to hit more. I want to see that record broken. For RBI, you have Judge, of course, with 117, and Jose Ramirez is the closest with 108. So that one's not really close. For hits, you have Freddie Freeman up top with 171. Trey Turner has 167. So that's relatively close. It's kind of cool that they're on the same team. For stolen bases, of course, John Verdi with 32. And Jorge Mateo and Cedric Mullins have 30. So that's a pretty close race. And then for pitching, you have Kyle Wright with 17. And it is a two-way tie with that. For second, it's Justin Verlander and Tony Gonsolin with 16. And then there's 15 and 14. So it's a pretty close race there as well. For ERA, it's, of course, Justin Verlander, who is on another level, and he's not young. He's literally, he's what, 37? 39. He's 39 years old, having a 1.84 ERA. Dude is stupid good. Dylan Cease has a 2.13. That's the closest, so nobody's going to be catching up to him. For saves, you have Kenley Jansen with 32, Emmanuel Clace with 31. You don't even see Josh Hader anymore. What has happened with Hader?
I don't know, but ever since he got traded to the Padres, he's just been absolute dog do.
It's crazy. I feel so bad because I did like Hader, except for when he beat us, in Milwaukee. But it's crazy how much of a slump he's been in since then. For strikeouts, you have Garrett Cole with 204. Only 4 pitchers right now have the 200 strikeout mark. Aaron Nola did it yesterday, so that's good on Nola for the 4th time in his career. But Carlos Rodon has 201. So it's relatively close, I guess, but Cole pitches tonight, so Cole is going to be up to 214 after tonight. For quality starts, Framber Valdez with 24, Yu Darvish, Shane Bieber, and Alek Manoah all have 20. And Alek Manoah is pitching tonight. So we'll see how that turns out.
All right. So here are the predictions. We made these back in August, I think.
Oh, God.
Kylie, you said that the AL division winners would be the Yankees, Guardians, and Mariners, with the wild cards being the Blue Jays, Rays, and Orioles. You were very, very wrong, and you should feel bad.
I definitely do. You know what? It's okay. We all learn.
All I'm going to say now is that the Mariners are 10 games behind the Astros, so you better pray that the Astros collapse. But they have 87 wins. As for your NL predictions, you had the Braves, Cardinals, and Dodgers winning the divisions, which honestly could happen now. You had the Phillies, Padres, and Mets as wild cards, so you're safe right there for the National League.
Yes, sir. I know my own league.
Yep. Calvin, your American League predictions. You had the Yankees, White Sox, and Astros winning the divisions. Looks good there. The White Sox currently are 3 games behind the division lead, so they got to do some catching up to do. Your wild card teams you predicted were the Mariners, Blue Jays, and Orioles, so you got to hope that Tampa Bay falls apart.
Yes.
As for the National League, you predicted the Mets, Cardinals, and Dodgers to win the division, so looks like you're all set there. Your wild card teams, the Braves, the Brewers, and the Padres. So you are rooting for a Phillies meltdown, which honestly could happen.
We are not friends right now, 40. I forgot you did that. Never mind. Go Braves.
I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why.
No.
I don't know why I put the Brewers. It's okay, though. It's okay. I'm going to rock out with the Brewers.
As for my predictions, I had the Yankees winning the East of the AL, which is all set. The Twins and the Mariners as division winners, with the Astros, Blue Jays, and Orioles as my wildcard teams. So I need the Rays to fall apart, the Twins to come from a game and a half behind the Guardians, and for the Mariners and the Astros to swap places. But guess what? I still have the Astros making the playoffs. I'm not Kylie.
We all
as,
know I did it just because I don't like them. Come on now.
as for my National League picks, I had the Mets, Brewers, and Dodgers winning the divisions, so I'm sort of right, but the Brewers are 8.5 games behind, so I have the Padres, Cardinals, and Braves as my wild card teams. Unfortunately, Phillies, I don't have you guys making it in, so
Thanks, Isaac. Means a lot, bud.
yeah, sorry. That the NL is kind of stacked. Whatever. Predictions are interesting.
Mm,
Speaking of predictions, do we want to do NFL predictions now, or do we want to
Let's do
quickly
it.
cover what's going on over in the NBA? Because there's just a few things there and in NHL that we can like knock out like that.
Yeah.
Let's go over to. I want to do a deeper dive into the NFL, so let's do that last.
Okay. So in that case, quick NBA updates. Sixers have signed Montrezl Harrell to a 2-year deal. Kylie, your thoughts?
So at first, I was like, okay. And I was looking through the comments, and I wasn't confident. And then, so I have this Discord server where it's all Philly sports. So I just created that, and people, I got their reactions, and in the Sixers community on Twitter. So I'm feeling okay about it. I just hope he can just rebound and eat up minutes for Embiid. That's all. Play good
Gotcha.
defense, please, for the love of God. Defense. Just defense, please. Welcome to Philly. We'll take your energy, though.
I don't really have too much to say about the Montrezl Harrell thing. Philly, the Sixers don't scare me. Sixers don't scare me.
Can you just give me one team that is successful, please?
I love you guys. I love the Sixers, but you
God.
guys gotta show me something. Like the only team that really scares me in the East as a Lakers fan, well, as a
LeBron.
fan, is the
Bucks.
Heat and the Bucks.
The Heat should. I don't know. The Heat are.
I like Jimmy Butler as a solo more than I like Joel Embiid and James Harden together.
Look, man, we're gonna prove y'all wrong this year. Watch.
All right then.
God damn it.
I'm just gonna let y'all keep trash talking there. Patrick Beverly is an idiot. LMAO is in our notes. Kylie, you wrote this. What did Pat Bev do? I haven't been paying attention.
So he was asked about playing with LeBron and Russell Westbrook and all of them. And he was like, nah, they're playing for me. I went to the playoffs last year. They didn't. I was going to have the clip, but I ran out of time. It's absolutely like, bro, this is LeBron, 4-time NBA champion. Like, you are nowhere near this dude's level. Humble yourself.
Oh, man. I agree. Some other quick news around the NBA. Giannis dropped a cool 41 in his return to Greece's national lineup. Because, you know, he's
International
Giannis.
basketball's happening right now, and you got
It is.
Korkmaz getting jumped. All
The
that
U.S. blew out Venezuela 101-49 in the AmeriCup quarterfinals. Just, you know, USA. One last basketball thing. We don't talk about the WNBA in this show. We honestly should, because it's pretty good in its own right.
Mhm.
But big shout out to Sue Bird, who just played in her last game. Deserves recognition and admiration. You know, she's not the only major sports star to retire this past week. Serena Williams also.
I was
played
just
last
about
week.
to say another thing we don't talk about is tennis, and Serena Williams deserves her flowers.
Man, it's
She
crazy.
does. What these two have done for their respective sports is incredible.
Sue Bird has been like the face of women's basketball for decades, and Serena
That's
Williams was
because
already
the WNBA literally started like 4 years before she came into the league.
I know, and Serena Williams was already the #1 world's tennis player when I was born.
Yes.
So it's crazy. But shout out to both of them on incredible careers. We're gonna miss you guys.
Definitely.
We're gonna miss them a lot.
Me and Milani will definitely miss Serena Williams. We watched a lot of the game. We watched her last match too.
I didn't get a chance to see it.
That's awesome.
I'm a little ashamed. I did watch her first round game, and I'll be honest, I'm not a huge tennis fan. I covered it a little when I was in college, just a little bit, but I never really understood it that well. But I was pulling for her. It's pretty exciting. NHL, we actually do have a little bit of news here. The Vancouver Canucks signed their leading scorer JT Miller to a 7-year, $56 million contract. So the Canucks trying to lock him up long term. And Tage Thompson signed a 7-year deal with the Sabres. So we're starting to see some last-minute deals get signed. Hockey starts in October. I'm excited. I cannot wait to get disappointed by the Lightning once again after last year's Stanley Cup collapse.
We may have some stuff going on during hockey season,
Yeah,
or right
maybe.
before.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of what we really want to do. Tomorrow,
Football.
the 2022 NFL season officially starts. We're done with
Finally.
preseason. Last week we did a little bit of a rush, but it was kind of rushed because we ran out of time. We did our predictions for where everybody would finish. Before we jump into predictions, just a quick few notes. The Bears have released plans for their Arlington Heights Stadium, which just stay at Soldier Field, you cowards.
No, so I wasn't gonna ask Tim about this because
I don't think he would have been allowed to say anything
Right.
about it.
So
And we don't want to. We don't want
Right.
to do anything that could cause any issues.
we don't do any of those kind of things. We try to, let the people come on and feel like they won't be in jeopardy of all that crap. So avoided all of that. So there's this on this guy on TikTok. He quotes himself as the CEO of Bears TikTok, whatever.
We should get him on the show.
He supports it because the parking is atrocious at Soldier Field. When one of our friends, Isaac, and I went to Minnesota to get a car for him, it's a long story, but we flew there and we obviously had to drive back, and we were gonna go to Soldier Field. We saw US Bank Stadium, incredible stadium. But we were gonna go to Soldier Field, and I was looking for places to park really close because I guess we're just used to how close we can park at Orioles games and how close I can park at all Philly games. So I guess I was maybe used to that, but I couldn't find anywhere to park that was close enough to make it worth it for going just to see the stadium.
Yeah.
So I know that's the biggest issue. It's the smallest stadium in the NFL.
That too.
Because it's historic, and back then, it's different.
Well, not really. It got taken off the U.S. National Historical Registry got my tongue tied there. It got taken off the National Historical Registry back in 2002, where they remodeled it because they butchered it so much. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
And there's a Bears fan that comes in. He's a customer. He comes into our work and obviously orders stuff. But I talked to him. I was like, "What do you think of it?" And he was like, "Do it.
All right,
just do it."
You heard the man.
Because it's a small stadium for a team in a city that loves their teams.
I'm kind of feeling Chicago sports. I'm on a bit of a Chicago rush recently. I've been watching a lot of Chicago Fire and Chicago Med, and man, I'm kind of feeling it. I'm
telling you, man, Chicago's different too.
So
yeah,
it is time. The other news items I'm going to fit into our actual discussions of our predictions. But before we get into the game predictions for week 1, I didn't get a chance to do this last week because we ran out of time. I have a couple more predictions for the season. Last week we predicted who would win the divisions and who our Super Bowl champs would be. Just to recap, Calvin, you said we all said that the Rams are going to win the NFC. Me and Kylie said that Buffalo would win the AFC. Calvin said Baltimore would win the AFC. And our Super Bowl champions, Calvin, you said the Ravens. Kylie, you said the Bills. I said the Rams. Good picks.
Thank God you kept track of that.
Oh, yeah. I will be keeping track of this.
Hold on. I just need you to repeat that for my guy one more time. Who did I have?
You had the Baltimore Ravens beating the Los Angeles Rams to win Super Bowl 57.
You heard it here first.
Right. All right. Before we get into game 1 predictions, got some individual awards that we got to predict. We'll start with MVP. Calvin, who's going to be MVP in 2022?
Big Ma.
Lamar?
8. I like 8.
All right. Kylie, MVP 2022.
Josh Allen's the favorite. the go-to answers are Josh Allen, Lamar, Rodgers, Mahomes. I'm going to backtrack on what I said a year ago because I have watched these MVP betting odds for this dude just come way down. I'm going Hurts. And let me tell you why. This dude is not expected to do that well from a lot of people, from half the fan base and from a lot of people.
A lot of people, including me, yeah.
I'm not, yeah. Even me, I'm not sold. But I tell you what, if he comes out and starts throwing, swear to God, this dude's going to win it.
The key word is if.
Yeah, the key word is definitely if. If. So I'm not putting it on lock, but I'm just saying.
I'll roll the dice on Big Mar before I touch Jalen Hurts.
Oh, definitely. It's safer to go Lamar, but we'll see.
You know, everybody always picks quarterbacks for MVPs, but I tweeted something this morning that I have felt for a long time. People don't seem to realize that there can be other players that can win MVP too. The days of when non-quarterbacks won MVPs may be long gone, and I still will take it to the grave that Derrick Henry should have been MVP in 2020 when he went for over 2,000 yards and single-handedly pulled the Titans to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I drafted this guy first with my first-round pick in my fantasy draft.
Oh, God.
The receiver has never won MVP until this year, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp.
I like it.
That's not a bad pick, Isaac. I love Cooper Kupp. I've been telling guys about Cooper Kupp since before he came out of college.
Oh, yeah.
Before he even played his first game with the Rams, I told people, I said, watch, Cooper Kupp is going to be somebody one day. Y'all going to know Cooper Kupp. They're like, bro, who? Cooper Kupp? All right. Now look, I like that pick.
All right. We're going to do rapid fire for the rest of these so we can get to our week 1 picks. Offensive player of the year. Everyone go.
With that one, you know what? I'm gonna throw a curveball in there. I like Stephon Diggs this year.
Ooh.
All right. Kylie, offensive player of the year.
I like where your head's at. And I would pick Jonathan Taylor, but I don't think he's gonna have this kind of season he just did. So I'm gonna go with Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, okay. I agree with you. I think Josh Allen is gonna has murder on the mind. Josh Allen, offensive player of the year. Now for defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year. It's a lot of defensive guys I like.
I know. Screw it. Give me Congo.
Give me
okay.
New place, new stadium, new home. Give me Bobby Wagner.
Ooh.
Bobby Wagner. All right. Bobby Wagner. Kylie, you said Derek Tangelo. Okay. It could happen.
Definitely. We'll see. So it's give me Aaron Donald. That dude is just crazy.
Yeah, it's an easy pick. I like that, but I like his teammate this year, Bobby Wagner.
I am gonna go with TJ Watt to repeat. TJ Watt. I like him. Coach of the year.
Coach of the year? Shit, give me my guy. Give me Ron Rivera, man.
All right.
Give me Ronnie.
All right. You did have Washington going to the playoffs, so I'll give you that.
Give me Ronnie.
I don't know, man. See, it's tough because there's a lot of good coaches, just like there's a lot of good defensive players. So it's like, I don't want to.
Well, I'll put mine in there real quick. Dan Campbell, who I predicted will get the Lions back to the playoffs. Dan Campbell and the Lions, with their whole, we don't need analytics. We just need pure brute strength and power and passion. Dan Campbell.
Yeah, screw it. Give me Campbell. It's just, that's why I went with Aaron Donald, because it was just like, I don't know, man. It's tough.
All right. Offensive rookie of the year. I'm just going to go out and say it real quick. Chris Olave. I already dislike him because he plays for the Saints, but, he didn't choose to be a Saint. He got
George
picked.
Pickens.
George Pickens. I like it.
A lot of the times those guys aren't favored to, like, when they're favored, they don't always do it. So
I don't think Pickens is even in I don't think Pickens.
no, I was thinking about Olave because I would love to pick Olave, but every time it's just those high profile receivers don't always do what they want to do, what they got to do in the first season. So I'm gonna have to go with Pickens too.
All right.
That dude is just
Yeah, he's going to be a menace.
he's crazy.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. I got Hutchinson from the Lions. There's a lot of good defenders. You like that?
Actually, give me I'm gonna throw a curveball in there. Give me the guy in San Francisco, Drake Jackson, D
Interesting.
lineman.
All right. I like that. Keeping it interesting.
Call me a homer. I'm going to Kobe Dean.
All right.
I love that.
Fine.
I love that.
And let me
All
tell
right.
you why. This dude was a projected one of the top picks. But because of his position, he obviously wasn't going to be that high. We got him in the 3rd round because of a lie about his injury.
Yeah.
And he's going to be paired up with Jordan Davis on the defensive line, dude.
That's
That communication between those two, yeah.
Yeah, you may have a point. All right. The moment everyone has been waiting for. Week 1 game picks.
easy, simple.
Oh, yeah. Let's do this. First up, the kickoff game, a potential Super Bowl preview.
Rams.
Okay, yeah. Rams and Bills tomorrow night. Calvin already said Rams. I'm going with Buffalo to take this one. I think they meet in the Super Bowl and Rams take it, but Buffalo takes the first game. Kylie, who you got?
Give me Rams too.
All right.
Isaac.
What's up?
Rams are at home coming off a Super Bowl win, and
And
they're the underdog. They are the underdog.
It's gonna be good. It's the first time since 2016 that the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the NFL coming into the season are playing each other to open the year.
Sean McVay is 5-0 in his coaching career in week 1.
He's about to be 5-1.
No, that's like saying Brady's about to be 6-1 against the Cowboys. Craziness.
Well, that too, but okay.
Man, can we talk about how the fact that the Bucs were gifted a 4th preseason game?
Okay, Kylie, we'll wait till we talk about that game in a bit. You can go off at the corner. Speaking of the Bucs, Tampa's arch nemesis, the New Orleans Saints, are taking on their good old-fashioned Southern hatred rival, the Falcons, in week 1. This is one of the more underrated rivalries of the NFL.
I honestly don't know what to go that game. Even in a betting standpoint, I looked at that game several times and I was like, bro, I just don't know where to go, because I love the Saints because I feel like Jameis is going to come out and show, the world that he still can play football.
Coughed up a hairball.
At the end of the day, I think Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston are on the same caliber level. Like,
yeah,
what Marcus can do with his legs, Jameis can do with his arm. So it's I don't know. It's a toss up for me, but I'm gonna go Falcons just because my guy's over there.
I will never pick the Saints ever. Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going Falcons. Congo's there. We got to support him.
Yeah.
Now this next game. This next game. Can y'all remind me what Baker Mayfield said he was going to do to the Browns?
Fuck him up.
Browns versus Panthers might be one of the most anticipated games of the week. I am going to take the Panthers. Baker's going to fuck them up.
Panthers blowout.
I like the Panthers.
All right.
Blowout.
Next up, San Francisco, the first game of the Trey Lance era as the 49ers take on the Bears. Oh, boy. I know we just had him on the show. I'm sorry, Tim. San Francisco is going to take this one.
I'm sorry, Tim, but San Fran.
I'm going Bears.
Crazy.
Okay. 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 You know what? It'll be close.
Yes.
The Bears aren't going to be as bad as people are predicting them to be. Next up.
32.
Yeah, this makes sense. Next up, revenge season for the Bengals revenge tour kicks off as they host Pittsburgh in a good old-fashioned NFC North rivalry. These are the kind of games that end with somebody getting put on a t-shirt.
Bengals walk.
Okay. I decided to wait until the Steelers would announce their starting quarterback, and it's Mitch Kissintitties. So Bengals.
Bengals. I never in my life will I put my money on Mitch Trubisky over Joe Burrow.
Just wait. Here's what's gonna happen. Mitch is gonna get hurt in the first half. Kenny Pickett's gonna come in and shock the world. I'm just saying. All right, Kylie, this one's for you. Eagles, Lions. This is an interesting one.
I like the Eagles.
I believe in Dan Campbell, but Eagles are way too good.
I like the Eagles.
Yeah.
I am pulling this one as my upset of the week. Lions shock the Eagles. Dan Campbell, the Lions proved they're the real deal in year 2.
Remember, we're working together that time, right? You know that, right?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm not working that day. I have my other job. I have a Sunday matinee I got to call. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be in the booth. So it's all good. I'll be there for week 2. All right.
Yeah.
AFC South matchup: Colts Texans. You got a rebuilding Texas team versus a Colts team with a new identity for the 6th year in a row. With that being said, Indianapolis.
Colts walk.
Indianapolis.
Yeah. Colts walk.
Patriot got another AFC rivalry game: Patriots and Dolphins. Game is in Miami. Just to point out. Yeah.
Dolphins.
Same here. If it's in Miami, don't even put money on the Patriots.
Yeah.
Ravens versus Jets. Joe Flacco's long-awaited revenge game because he's getting the start.
Ravens.
Yeah, this isn't even a contest. Who's putting money on this? Nobody.
Big Mar, man. I'm telling y'all. It's revenge season. Everybody's counting them out. It's contract year. It's time to go. I'm telling you. My boy's going to win a Super Bowl. And I'm not even a Ravens fan, but I know my boy is going to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The new age for Washington football kicks off as the Commanders host the Jaguars. I'm taking Washington to win this one, but Jacksonville's going to make it uncomfortably close because they're looking much more improved from last year.
Is it in Washington or Jacksonville?
It is in Washington.
Washington. So I was going to say, Wentz played in Indy. He's got that Indy on him, so I would have picked Jaguars, but give me my guy Wentz.
Jaguars, huh?
Yeah.
No good. Commanders.
All right.
We are Commanders.
I love it. Second late games on Sunday. Giants and Titans. This one's going under the radar a bit because, Titans.
Come on, man. 22 in the backfield. Titans.
All right. This is the one of the big games of the week. Chiefs and Cardinals. This is the type of game you watch if you hate defense. With that being said, Kansas City.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs, man. I don't even know why I had to sit there and think about it for a second.
Yeah.
That boy Pat Mahomes back there. Long as 15 back there, I like 15.
All right. Raiders and Chargers. They bookended last year with one of the best games I've ever seen. Now they get to kick off the season against each other.
I like the over. That's what I like. Whatever the over is, that's what I slam. But
hammer that.
I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah, give me the Chargers. Week 1. That defense is crazy. You got Derwin James. You got Khalil Mack. You got Joey Bosa. You got
that defense is stacked.
Asante Samuel Jr. Yeah, they got some guys over there.
Kylie, who you got?
I was about to say Raiders, but he just listed off everybody on the defense.
Yeah.
So
Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa is ridiculous.
Exactly. It's. I was gonna say like Adams. I believe in Carr, Waller, but that defense, man, that defense is just insane for the Chargers.
Who's blocking Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa?
Yeah, so you have to double team both of them. That's half your offensive line right there.
There it is.
So more than half your. That's 90% of your offensive line. So yeah, I'm going Chargers.
Our last big rivalry game of the week is the Packers and the Vikings. Up until last week, I would have picked the Packers, but after the recent news, give me the Vikings to upset the Packers.
Yeah.
I like the Vikings.
Yep.
Right.
Vikings.
Sunday Night Football, aka preseason game number 4 for the Buccaneers as we travel to Jerry World. Tom Brady is coming. We are going to shred Dallas. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Man.
Dallas went legit.
Anybody thinks that Dallas is going to win this game is crazy. Tom Brady. I've learned my lesson. I told you guys, I don't bet against that guy anymore. I will never bet against 12.
I will say I'm a little nervous because of our offensive line issues, but I still think, it's the Cowboys. It's Dallas. We
Yeah.
I'm nervous. Who? All right. Who's guarding Antonio? I mean, who's guarding Julio Jones?
I don't know.
Trayvon Diggs.
Draymond Diggs.
I love Trey Diggs. You feel me? He's a hometown guy, but come on, man. Be realistic. Who? No, not only that, because this is the thing. I see what he did against Mike Evans last year. 5 catches, 24 yards. Okay, cool. 3 catches, 24 yards. But that's the thing. If he stays on Mike Evans the whole entire time, who the hell is covering Julio Jones? Or if he stays on Julio Jones the entire time, who the hell is covering Mike Evans? And
what about Chris Godwin?
Then
Chris Godwin might not play. So,
well, even if Chris Godwin doesn't play, you still got other guys in the slot that are insanely fast. So it's like Trey can only cover one guy.
Yeah.
Who the hell's covering the other guy?
There you go.
I don't care who's on Tom Brady's offensive line. That guy has playmakers out there to get the ball to.
There you go. Our final game of week 1, Monday Night Football. This is the kind of game you kind of wish was later in the season because it would have more of an impact. But for his first game as a Denver Bronco, Russell Wilson gets to go to Seattle, who most likely will be the worst team in the league this year. So Broncos all the way. I'm slamming the Denver button.
Broncos.
All right.
The only way the Broncos lose that is if Vegas rigged it.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
There you have it. I will save these. We will come back next week, see how we did, and make a prediction for week 2.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, Calvin, you got any good bets for us?
I got some. Well, definitely tomorrow, Rams. I like the Rams. Everybody, listen to me. I don't care what anybody else says in this world. The Bills, they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen's the favorite to win the MVP. You got to stay away from those guys. Those are the guys that the betting worlds wants you to hammer because they're just going to take your money. You know, whoever they have favored at the beginning of the year never ends up winning the championship. It's always those guys that are in the middle of the caliber and stuff. So definitely pick the Rams tomorrow. They're at home. They're the underdog, just coming off a Super Bowl win. They have a fresh defense. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, Terrell Lewis. They got guys over there. And then we still got baseball season going. So as far as baseball goes, I like a couple hitters for today. Mookie Betts to get a hit. He's gotten one hit in last 9 out of 12. Harold Ramirez to get a hit. He's gotten a hit in the last 21 out of the 25. Michael Harris from the Braves. He's on a 13-game hit streak. Luis how do you say his last name? Ringfro from the Angels.
Something like that.
He has one hit in the last 21
Him come back on.
Justin Turner, he's on a 15-game hit streak. Bo Bichette has 10 hits in his last 3 games.
A lot of home runs too, like 4 home runs or something.
Yeah. Alec Baum has one hit in the last 19 out of 20. Boom. He has one hit in 19 of the last 25. 2 hits in his last 3 out of 5. He's also batting .370 against left-handed pitchers this year. So I'd like Alec Bohm as well. And then Yandy Diaz is batting .333 against Pivetta in his career. And he has 2 hits in a game in his last 6 out of 10 games, 1 hit in a game in his last 18 out of 25. So those are a couple good hitters for you guys for today.
Hey, before we do our 2 truths and a lie and head out of here, quick thing I got to do real quick. Hey, new wallpapers just dropped.
I love it.
Let's go.
I love it.
Cal 40, can you repeat what the Bohm numbers were?
The Bohm numbers were 1 hit in the last 19 out of 25, 2 hits in the last 3 out of 5, and he's batting .370 against left-hand pitchers this year.
People wanted his ass traded. Come on now.
Yeah,
Don't sleep on my third baseman.
he's looking real good.
Yes, even the dogs agree, man. See,
See,
look,
dogs agree
dogs
too.
know. Dogs know. All right, 2 facts and a lie before we get out of here. Let's do the thing. Hold on. Oh shit.
Why do we have to wait? Why are you cussing? What happened? What did you do?
This.
Okay.
All right, so 2 facts and a lie. Number 1, the first rugby club was created in 1843. Guy's Hospital Rugby Club was formed in London by boys from rugby school. Lots of rugby in there. The USA's Connecticut women's basketball team once won 90 games in a row. Not a single game was lost between the start of the 2008 to 2009 season and the end of 2010. Finally, Gilbert Arenas broke Javaris Crittenden's flip phone when he threw it against a locker in 2010 during that infamous fight where a gun was
I
brought
don't
up.
think they had flip phones anymore in 2010. Wait,
Yeah, they did.
they did. You know what?
Uh,
I feel like it's number 2 because I know that UConn went on an insane winning streak, but I think that was like during the mid 2010s and not back in 2008. But I could be wrong.
yeah, I feel like that was in the. I don't know. I think
I'm
that
going
might have
with
been in the
2.
2010s as well. So I'm gonna go with number 2 is a lie. Yeah,
You're both
Yeah,
saying
number
number
2.
2?
I
Yep.
feel like that UConn run was in like 2013 to 15 or
I'm
something.
pretty sure it was.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So
go.
you're
no,
saying
No, it was during that because there was that famous game against like South Carolina with the buzzer beater that they broke
Yep.
it. So yeah.
so you're saying number 2 is wrong?
Yeah.
The lie?
Yeah.
Not true. Number 3 is the lie.
What it wasn't a flip phone, right?
It didn't happen. He didn't smash a phone.
Oh wow.
Damn. Well, we're dumb. I
I
guess UConn goes on big streaks like that all the time. We're just used to it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Ugh.
Mets are up 5-1, bottom of the 7th. Oh well, yeah, bottom of the 7th.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, we will let you get off to that.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, listening, all that good stuff. Again, I know you're not here, Tim, but thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure.
Oh,
It was
yes.
fun
Thank you,
talking
Tim.
about it. Check us out on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And see you next week. We got some fun stuff planned for you guys, and we're excited to keep this going. So we'll
Oh,
see you
yeah.
guys next week.
See you, everybody.
Peace.